Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you? How
Sir,
are you? Yeah, what a pleasure seeing you.
Sir, very nice to see you after a very long time, sir.
Yeah, my pleasure. Opportunity given by Plant Protection Association. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Khetarpal. I think without wasting much time, I would like to, move ahead. I welcome all of you for today's important presentation by Dr. Khetarpal. I know I need to welcome all my members of Plant Protection Association of India and the executive of Plant Protection Association of India. And I know there are so many dignitaries. In fact, Dr. Kuldeep Singh promised me he would join. I think at some point in time, I welcome him also, he would be joining. And I have invited Dr. Dubey, ADG Plant Protection, our former head of the NBPGR quarantine region. We do have with us Dr. Varaprasad. I welcome you, Dr. Varaprasad. Dr. Celia, you are welcome here. I welcome all the members of the Plant Protection Association of India and scientists from ICR institutes, NBPGR. A lot of them are joining from NBPGR also, and other agriculture universities, especially from PGT, SAU and ANJRAU, because they are very close and they have been associated with me, for organizing these very important, significant presentations during the last 3 months, in fact. It all started with let me tell you why I started this as president of Plant Protection Association of India. The association was established way back in 1972 December, and we are now into 50th year of its existence. So we thought that it is befitting. So I don't claim that we have a lot of resources, but we are celebrating this year of our existence, 50th year of our existence as Golden Jubilee celebrations, and we are going to end up with an international conference in November from 28th to 30th of November 2022. And in this context, we have also started the series of this wonderful lectures from experts in plant health management. Let me tell you, we have started with a topic in CRISPR-Cas in technology by Dr. Niranjan Kumar, CEO, AVS Incorporated from USA, and then novel approaches for Dr. Barnawal in IRI on October 22nd. Space entomology, its significance in astronauts world by Dr. Ravi, who was actually a scientist in NASA. He was invited back and he joined US Harvard and he gave a beautiful presentation. And we have had a talk by the plant protection in precision agriculture with UAVs by Mr. Vinod Kumar, and founder and CEO of that institution. It was on December 13th. We have a plant biosecurity system for managing biological threat incursions by Dr. S.B. Sharma. I don't have to say a lot about Dr. S.B. Sharma. He is like Dr. Khetarpal is also known. And confluence of modern day pest and resistant management by Dr. Srinivas Parimi from Bayer Crop Sciences. And one subject from CIMMIT scientist Dr. L.M. Suresh on biosecuring sub-Saharan Africa from transboundary maize lethal necrosis disease, which is not present in our country. And last 8th presentation was on 26th of last month, prospectives and plant health management in hydroponics for Indian vegetable crops by CEO and the founder of Urban Kisan, Dr. Sai Ram Reddy. So I think we are good. We are going with this series of lectures today. I'm very happy to tell all those guests present today that Dr. Khetarpal suggested that we should start some kind of debating kind of presentations from students and all the active researchers in the country. I would in fact look forward to such events in the coming 8 months from private as well as from universities and from ICR institutes. And there are some people who have come forward to institutes and awards also. There's one, I spoke to Vinod Kumar, he wants to institute a couple of awards for those people who are, those students working on protocols for, drones and UAVs. I think we are good. We are very happy. I don't have to talk much about Dr. Khetarpal. In fact, we have been working with him for the past, I've been with him for the past 33 years. Ever since I joined NBPGR, he was head of the division, and then he did not want to be director of NBPGR. Let me say this also. And he has gone to join an international institute, CABI, as Asia regional director. And then afterwards, he moved on to APAARI, and he is doing a commendable work. Sometimes it's very difficult for to get him, but he comes back and find some time to talk to anybody, not just to me. Such a wonderful personality is. I think let me move forward, and I think I don't need to take a lot of time. I asked Dr. Celia to introduce the speaker, and we shall move forward. Dr. Celia, please go on.
Thank you, Dr. Sharath Babu.
Yeah.
Very good afternoon to everyone. Respected Dr. Ravi Khetarpal, today's honorable speaker, Dr. Sharath Babu, President, Plant Protection Association of India, Vice Presidents, Office Bearers of Plant Protection Association of India, senior colleagues and friends. In fact, it's my privilege and honor to introduce today's speaker, Dr. Ravi Khetarpal, the Executive Secretary of APAARI, Asia Pacific Association of Agricultural Research Institutions, based at Bangkok, Thailand. In fact, I don't need to introduce Sir. He is a renowned virologist and globally known for his work on biosecurity, plant quarantine in India, Asia Pacific region, and world over. Dr. Khetarpal has done MSc Agriculture in Plant Pathology from G.B. Pant University of Agriculture and Technology, Pantnagar, in 1977. Pardon me, this is for the younger generation, not for people like us who knew him very well. It is always good to know the details. And then he went on to University of Paris, France, and completed PhD in Life Sciences in 1989. Even I do not know this. He has also done mini MBA from Oxford University, UK in 2010. And this must be during his stint in CABI, and Prince 2 from APMP Group, UK, again in 2010. At present, he is undertaking the APAARI activities in the region, including execution of projects sponsored by Food and Agriculture Organization, European Union, WTO, ACIAR, COA, and USDA on knowledge management, agriculture innovation system, agriculture science technology, indicator, and of course, phytosanitary compliance for international seed movement and pesticide risk mitigation in various countries in Asia Pacific. And he is presently also serving as the chairman of Global Forum of Agricultural Research and Innovation. It's a really proud moment for us when we heard this news. And also for Tropical Agricultural Platform of FAO, a G20 initiative for developing and promoting the agricultural innovation system. Sir has also served for CABI South Asia in India, Delhi based, as regional director and also as its regional advisor on strategic science partnership for more than 7 years. And prior to this, he has worked at ICR and BPGR New Delhi. And he was in fact leading the division for a decade, and I was fortunate to work with him. And here, he has not given very many details, but in quarantine, he has really, right from the infrastructure, right from electron microscope and post-entry quarantine greenhouses and molecular and serological diagnostics. During his period, actually, our division was strengthened immensely, and we all benefited from his experience. And he was also a visiting scientist in an EU collaborative project in Versailles for 3 years. And he is well known for his contributions in R&D, policy issues, and capacity building in the field of plant protection, transboundary pests, biosecurity, biosafety, Biosafety reminds me in way back in 2000 when we all started training programs. He was instrumental in getting us a DBT funded project. It's almost 20 years and still we are continuing that project. And he has and his specializations around seed certification and biodiversity also. And he worked as consultant for 12 FAO, World Bank, USDA projects on SPS issues, notably in Indonesia, as team leader, India, Bangladesh, Thailand, Nepal, Mauritius, and Cambodia. He also represented Asia as a developing country SPS expert in STDF working group between 2016 and 17 in World Trade Organization. I'm not going to give the details of the awards he got. He has received several awards from Indian Phytopathological Society, ISMPP, ISPP, and he has served as president of many of these plant pathology societies and plant protection societies and contributed immensely to prepare a roadmap in the field of plant protection for India especially. And he has published more than 100 research papers, 18 books, 60 book chapters, 16 review articles, and very many policy papers. One of the key publications include, he co-edited the book on plant virus disease control from American Phytopathological Society, USA. And many of us would only dream about publishing a book like this from a very prestigious American Phytopathological Society. Now I request Dr. Ravi Khetarpal sir to speak on APAARI initiatives on plant health. Sir, please.
Thank you, Celia. Thank you, Dr. Sharad Babu. Thank you, all the participants. Thank you to Plant Protection Association. It's a big pleasure to be invited by my former colleagues, by the association with which I have worked before, and to be with speaking to all the people. I think 90% of them I know quite well. So I will just, in the interest of time, I may like to start my presentation. Okay, can you see the full screen?
Sir, we can see this.
We can see you, sir. We can see presentation.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Ravi. So directly coming to the subject, I'm not really going to speak on plant health from the angle of the health of the plant. I am going to speak on plant health from the angle of how plant health is important in international trade. It's more from the business, commerce, international movement angle. So health of the plant is a very important issue of plant pathologies. They have a lot to do there on host pathogen interaction, or isolation, growing, inoculation. There are a lot of researchable topics there. Pathogenesis and pathogenicity and all, I'm just not going into it. Secondly, I'm not going to really speak on the core plant health research issue. I'm going to speak on an area where I had my humble involvement, where I'm still working along with all my other responsibilities. I'm going to give you a development perspective, how we can reach to many countries in the region to make things happen. So the perspective of my whole presentation will be more on scaling up the SPS knowledge management, collaboration, coordination in the region as much as possible, so that we don't stop the global supply chain, global seed supply chain or global commodity supply chain, which is in the interest of any country from the angle of earning revenues. We all know the importance of plant protection. We have highlighted plant health many times. And the most important thing is this was greatly highlighted from 2020 up to May 2021, where the international year was extended, that 1% of crop loss, which is saved, can feed 25 million hungry people. So if you know the number of hungry people in the world, and you keep a target of how much crop losses you can save, I think you find the answer towards achieving the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goal. But unfortunately, globally, we are not moving in that direction. Now, my presentation will cover briefly about APAARI to give you a context, then some challenges of the subject in the region, and some of the APAARI initiative. So I may not be talking of everything under the blue sky being done in Asia on the subject. What are our initiatives? And I will end up with the two-liner message, which will be my concluding part. Now, just to give you a brief glimpse of APAARI, for some of you who may not be knowing, we are established by FAO way back in 1990. Now we are seeking our own legal status as a IGO or intergovernmental organization in Thailand with Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We have a clear vision of strengthening agri-food research and innovation for sustainable agriculture development in the region. We have 4 thematic areas clearly mentioned here on the left: natural resource management, risk mitigation, inclusive development. Inclusive development is more from the angle of pro-poor value chain, and on policy and advocacy. So apart from that, we are a membership-based organization, and we have more than 80 members. We have 22 country members, and all the CG institutions which are here in presence, 11 CG centers which are present in the region, and all the IRCA centers like KEBI or Crop for Future, World Vegetable Center, ISI Mode in Nepal, and even IFDC now, and so on. So we have a lot of higher education sector as members, universities. We have sub-regional bodies like SARC, like SPC, and we have certain associations, foundation, and trust. Our aim is to bring membership benefit to our members who pay the membership fee, or who are members even if they are not paid, reciprocal members we call. We bring a lot of kind of a benefit to members through projects we have started only 4 years back. APAARI was never doing a project. And now we do a lot of projects of FAO, from WTO, from European Union, from AFD, Agence Française de Développement. I mean, these are EU and AFD are not in a big way with us. Then we have projects from Australian Centre of International Agriculture Research, from USDA, from Council of Agriculture, and also we had recently from Global Forum of Agriculture Research and Innovation. So this is how we reach to our members. And these are the members we have. At the top line shows our donors, supporters of APAARI. And below that, you may see the second one, and the second line is ICAR, is one of the 22 NARS, which is a member of APAARI. Then we have all the CG centers and a lot of global agencies. You see here KEBI, or you see WorldVeg, and you see so many organizations, International Association of Agriculture, Sustainability and all. So we have a good amalgam of members and partners, which really make us move forward properly. Now, just to give a context to my presentation, we are going to talk on the plant health vis-a-vis SPS compliance. I would just like to quickly highlight the importance of plant protection in agriculture. What are the key issues in agriculture? If you look very nicely, you see land degradation, biosecurity issues, biodiversity issues, production-centric issues, market access and linkage issue, and climate change issue. If you see clearly, everywhere plant protection plant health becomes very crucial. I think you can see it by yourself. You may ask me where it's important in market access and linkage. Those are all the SPS issues where you have to do risk analysis and all. So I will move to the next slide. When you talk of SDGs, a lot is being said about SDGs, a lot is being captured. Every platform, people say, I work for SDG, this and that. But for me, the most important SDG as a plant protection specialist is SDG number 12. Rest will come by itself if you resolve number 12. Hunger, poverty, and all will be linked. Partnership, you have to have climate action. It's a global thing. Very important on the ground is responsible consumption and production. It is where I think the focus of plant protection people have to be much more. Of course, this will be achieved with the partnerships and all, but one SDG if we have to pick up for really working, contributing is responsible consumption and production. If you look at the report from the United Nations Economic and Social Commission of Asia and Pacific, which came recently, about a year back, they say Asia Pacific is not on track for achieving SDGs. And how many years are left? We've just left with 7-8 years now. And we are not achieved midway what we should have achieved by 2021. The figure shows we are not halfway where the targets were to be achieved by 2021. So apparently there may be some midterm corrections or something will be coming up, but in general, Asia Pacific is not on track. And the DG of FAO, when he was in Bangkok about 2 years back, he said, if Asia Pacific can achieve some of the targets of the goals of the SDG, the whole world can achieve. And he was not wrong, because 60% of the world lives in Asia Pacific. If we are resolving anything, we are resolving more than 50% of the problems global problem. We have so many other continents. So we are a vibrant region, we have a lot to contribute, but we have our issues. Now, if you look at the plant health issues per se, thanks to COVID-19, an old man, an illiterate man, everyone knows what is biosecurity, what is plant quarantine, what is quarantine. Like there are words even our family people have never heard. When we used to tell them I had of plant quarantine, they say, what? What is this? And now anyone in the street, anyone selling, any vendor, any old man, illiterate man knows what is quarantine. What's the importance of zoning? What's the importance of lockdown? So biosecurity concept is coming up and gaining importance in agriculture also. And however, one of the major issues is we talk a lot of our subject, all of us, but none of us are keen to work on losses and economics of the losses caused by plant diseases to document rationally. And that's the reason we can never make our voice to get big projects and all globally, where we cannot document properly how actually it is affecting our production. That's a weakness of our community, and all of us are party to it. Also, the epidemiology still cannot walk on the ramp. It is not fashionable. It is still not a glamorous subject because it requires a lot of field work. People are happy doing a lot of lab work and a lot of things. And without epidemiology, we might have seen with COVID also, we just cannot move ahead in this subject. Then research and education, we have a big infrastructure. We boast of large number of universities, thousands of institutions in, only in Southeast Asia, we have more than 3,000 universities. We were mapping the other day, not to speak of South Asia, where every 40 kilometers you find a university mushrooming around. So, but we are not focused in our education and research system on entrepreneurship, which is a big weak point. Then we talk of a lot of technical capacities. We don't blend with functional capacities, what we call the soft skill. And then the concept of innovation is not clear to many people and hence often not captured and scaled up. We often confuse innovation as a research output or something. We have not simplified it for the common man to understand what actually innovation is. It can be in a product, it can be in a process, it can be anywhere. How innovation is important, and this is an era of innovation. If I put my whole presentation of what APAARI is doing on plant health with SPS, compliances to SPS, I will try to just give a brief overview of the multi-dimensionality of the safe trade when it comes to plant health. There are many concerns: social, environmental, product quality, plant health, and food safety. We are going to focus on plant health and food safety, where we are governed globally under the sanitary and phytosanitary agreement of WTO and their compliance mechanisms. So I'm going to focus only on that. Otherwise, as such, safe trade is a highly complicated, very big subject. And what we will be talking about is more on the non-tariff measures, not other factors which contribute to the tariff measures in the international trade. If you look at the number of tariff rates, a percentage of tariff rate, they have become half recently, from 13% to less than 6% in the global trade. If you look at the technical barrier to trade notifications, they were the highest earlier, that's blue bars. They have gone down. And what is happening more is all the SPS issues in red color, number of cases of rejection of consignments because of SPS notifications have gone very high. And this is where I think globally people are focusing. This is where we are working. And that is for the commercial thing, but when it comes to the germplasm or the genetic resource, I have shown this slide before in some meetings. I will not use much. There are a lot of different views and opinions and procedures to do it, different legislation. So with the help of CG and Global Crop Diversity Trust, FAO, and International Seed Federation and Biodiversity International, we initiated by International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, we formed a group. And since that group we are working, we met with all the CG Bank people since we met in Rome, we met in Rabat in Morocco about 3 years back, and then we met again, and now we are going to meet in Thailand after 2 months. We have come to some conclusion of a system of a green pass where we will be really coming out as the best practices of IPPC. It can't go as an international standard, but best practices of the IPPC of FAO that may carry more value. That is where we are progressing now. Now, if you look at the plant health as a regional perspective in Asia Pacific, we have FAO as a big brother, and these are the agencies of FAO, this emergency prevention system, IPPC as a headquarter in Rome, and the APPC, which is one of the 9 regional plant protection organizations based here in FAO office, and they all have their clear mandate. Similarly, if you look at international efforts in terms of plant health and SPS issues, a lot of agencies have come forward in different ways. The FAO and related agencies, or WTO, STDF, UNESCAP, World Bank, USDA, EU, GIZ, and so on, they all have their priorities and they're working. If you look at the regional organizations, regional bodies, we have some of them like APPC, we have APEC talking a bit on SPS notifications and capacity building and policy positioning. We have ASEAN, they have working group and capacity building partnership. We have SARC, which is organizing workshop and trainings now with us actually. We have initiated with them. Practically, we have SASEC, that's the South Asia Sub-Regional Economic Cooperation, which actually is not as active as ASEAN. But we have, for the seed specific, we have EPSA, and then we have APAARI here. So we try to play our role as much as we can in partnership with all these regional organizations. Now we have taken some initiatives in terms of capacity building, research and development, and innovation and policy issues, where you can see 5 bullets. We bring in projects from global donors, doing a bit on knowledge management, and also we are now working for coordination and networking with sub-regional bodies and also with the plant health regional initiatives of 1CG, and also from the innovation perspective with GFAR and Tropical Agriculture Platform. So having said that, I will now come to the groundwork, key work, which we are doing. I'll give you a few examples only. I'm not going to touch upon all, and I'll be quite quick because I'm not here to present the whole project results, nor I'm very competent. My colleagues, Dr. Varaprasad and Dr. Sasi Rekha, who are here, I think are more competent than me. I'll give you a glimpse of what we are doing. The glimpse is we started a project 2 years back, which when we start a project means we wrote the project, we got the project preparation grant, then we submitted the full project. This whole cycle takes 1 to 1.5 years. So we started in 2018, and 2019 we got this project. 2020, as we were to start the project, there came COVID-19 in this region. 2019, November, December, it came China, Italy and all, but Southeast Asia came in by January or February. So we just had everything online. We had the earlier partner IR4, which is, IR4 actually is are the institutions or universities which are funded by USDA and in US. Now some people from IR4 have shifted to Agalign Global. They have opened their own company, so they are with us. Our key player from IR4 has left because of health reason. Anyway, technically, we have roles of what APAARI has to do and what our present partner Agalign Global has to do. So there was a clear division of work among partners when we really do. And the best part of this project was, as we started the project, there was a global buy-in. Then we were contacted by Africa and Latin America, and Africa wrote the project with our support. And we helped them in developing the project. We are still a partner with them. They have also got the project to work in 6-7 countries in Africa, led by ICGEB, who are specialists in biopesticide. And looking at this African thing, this project became very viral. And then now Latin America also got a project preparation grant to work in about 9 or 10 countries in Latin America. So I'm proud to say that what we have initiated has become a global endeavor, which I think will be very useful in the long run for WTO to showcase as an example of how a small little project can really find a global buy-in. Okay, next. What this project speaks about. This project actually is aimed to increase awareness of how pesticide residue issues impact trade and how we can develop methods for overcoming these barriers. How to improve knowledge management and a good monitoring and learning system for pesticide management. How to increase awareness and promote the use of biopesticide among farmers in Asia Pacific countries. So this is what is our component, and then we have a very clear project partners. We are working with 9 countries. Pakistan is a late addition to USDA money, but basically this came from SPDF. And here are the key players who are actually involved in the project. APAARI is taking a lead. And when I show IR4 label logo here, I'm sorry, it should have been Agalign Global, but they also are born out of IR4, so I can justify it. So these are the key players. Why this project? Some of you may question, if not all of you. For those who are not familiar, shipments have been rejected for pesticide residue violations because of lack of compliance to established international standard. Maximum residue limit issues are one of the main SPS issues raised in the SPS committee and affecting the agri-food trade. So our project very clearly aims to mitigate pesticide residues and facilitate trade based on collaborative and a regional approach, which you will see, and also aims to mitigate pesticide MRL export violation through use of microbial-based biopesticide to control key pests at the end of crop growing period. The period when pesticide mostly contribute to residues at the time of harvest. Now, I don't need to explain about what is biopesticide and all. The point I would like to highlight here is, sorry. I'm sorry. Biopesticides do not produce residues, so they are exempt from MRLs, and USDA IR4 have a globally harmonized list of biopesticide-based active ingredient examples, which are exempted from MRLs, which are the key issues for trade. And another important point I want to highlight here is utilization of biopesticide late in the growing season as an alternative to conventional pesticide is one way to mitigate residue violations on export markets while providing pest control during pre-harvest interval. The key point here is when you are doing a lot of conventional pesticide, traditional chemical synthetic pesticide spray in the field, take your last spray of a biopesticide. Then biopesticide will not have issues, and they will not allow the residues of the earlier sprays of the chemical pesticide to really express in the residue studies, and there your sample can pass easily as residue-free in international trade. Only thing is to work out what we call PHI, the pre-harvest interval. How many days before pre-harvest we should be spraying biopesticide? You have to try a combination, but normally it is 14 days to a month where such sprays are useful. So the project aims to develop decline residue data and better understand how time, IPM production practice, and end of season mitigation impact residues. So that is all what we actually are going to say into this, because all the FAO related IPM thing, they are very encouraging, but FAO or no organization has given any clearly organized effort on how to promote the inclusion of biopesticide. All is being done very randomly by those actively engaged in IPM globally. So this is a point I want to make. The project is not expected to establish new codex MRLs. Just we need to keep in mind. I may not like to say more here. We can go in the discussion mode. And the advantage of this biopesticide approach is a purely biopesticide program will happen what? It will result in lower residues that may not be sufficient alone to control the pest. People may question, why not use always biopesticide? No, you really need to use chemical pesticides at the initial stage. But when you have to trade, you have to look at MRL. You need to ensure that biopesticide is used at the right time with the right pre-harvest interval. So the project that way is very distinctive. It will balance the advantage of conventional pesticide, generally lower cost and generally greater efficacy. You know, the chemicals are very effective, lower cost than biopesticide. It will balance that with the advantage of biopesticide at the end of season to result in lower residue while providing sufficient extension of pest control caused by extending the pre-harvest interval of the conventional product. And hence the project this way is very innovative when used justifiably in the IPM program. So we have actually looked at the codex values of different crops for different countries. You know, we found a lot of variation while we were drafting the project. And some of the crops like chili, greens or basil or leafy greens, we call cabbage and all. We have taken for certain countries based on their own requirement and all. So the work plan, actually what we initially designed, there is slight change here. We have a clear capacity building program in the countries. We have residue mitigation studies. We have biopesticide manufacturing and development, where certain countries will be involved, and regulatory harmonization. And then finally, of course, all results, discussion and all. And for your information, it has been a tough thing to work with countries on laboratory and field work virtually. I don't know if people can imagine doing lab tests, everything virtually. Our trainers from US, and then there's a field demonstrations and the lab activities and all, but with a lot of series of homework with our American partners, and our project partners, we have finally come to a very ideal compromise. It took us 1 year to reach to that stage, identifying the crop, the pesticide, the biopesticide, the everything. And I'm very happy to say here, tomorrow is the first day we are starting our virtual training for 4 countries, especially in a hybrid mode with Bangladesh Agriculture Research Institute is the place from where it will be done for 4 countries. And then there'll be a country-specific training, and there's another group of country training. So this will continue, and my colleague, Dr. Sasi Rekha, has been actively involved in networking and making this happen. What are the benefits we expect from such a project for our region? Facilitation of access to use of biopesticide, very important, for the export market access. Reduce exposure of farmers and consumers to high-risk chemical pesticide. Empowerment of our developing countries to manufacture their own microbial biopesticide. Increase expertise in region, proper data generation, and a lot of regional cooperation and coordination among the sub-regional bodies. So there are huge benefits which will accrue from this project. And we work on the COVID situation and a lot of lessons learned. The most important thing is the last one. We are learning new ways of engaging participants from 9 countries during virtual meetings and trainings. It is painful at times, very painful. Our meeting always starts at night hours, early mornings in US, or maybe early morning hours for late night for US. And then in between we find other countries. It's quite a painful way of moving ahead. This actually sums up the whole project, the various aspects of it, which I don't need to highlight. One part which I missed saying was also the involvement of Asia Farmers Association, who will be looking at the Farmers Awareness Program, which will be led by Dr. Sasi Rekha from APAARI very soon. So the project has many important aspects. In the project, like I said initially, there's functional capacity and all. What APAARI is doing, not in this project, every project, we are taking capacity building in a holistic way. It is not individual capacity building. Okay, we train 50 people, we have summer school, we have days, we have winter school, we have autumn school, we train 40 people. You always have a checklist everywhere in the world. But what happens when you train only individual capacity? It doesn't work unless you build the institutional or organizational capacities, and unless you bring the enabling environment capacities. So there's an array of the capacity development focus that we have factored as per the tropical agriculture platform, where they say if you want the capacity to innovate, you really need to build the functional skills along with the technical skill. And how you blend the technical and the functional skill will depend on your own functional and technical skill. So technical skills, they're specific to project objective. Okay, they should know this lab technique. They should do this, they should do that. Functional skills, which we built as additional factor, is working on the knowledge, attitude, and behaviors needed to successfully apply and coordinate those technical capacities to achieve some long-term objectives. And this slide shows, I'm not going to read how much the functional skills are important along with the technical skills, because there's a human aspect which we often miss when we talk of skill building or capacity building. Various kind of functional capacities. If it comes to skills, number we have listed. Comes to behavior and attitude, large number of them. You really need to work on it. So I'd like to go quickly here because we follow the module of FAO Tropical Agriculture Platform, where we say functional capacities actually means the capacity to navigate complexity. If you want to work for SDGs, you are navigating into the complexities. You just can't do one subject, one thing. You are into the complexities and you are navigating. You should have a capacity for collaboration. You should have a capacity for reflection and learning. Some people always say, I know everything. And these are the people who have lesser capacity for reflection and learning, because you're already blocked, because you say you know everything. But every time, how we need to be a good listener when we learn, when we talk, and how we have capacities to engage in strategic and political process. All these capacities help to adapt and respond to realize the potential of innovation. So these are the skills which help you to innovate. And we have linked it with all the projects of APAARI. Okay, I think I will skip on that. This just shows how we are doing with surveys and all. Now, coming to another important project, which we just started last year, but actually project work started much earlier. But from APAARI, we took it up last year. This is on the improving phytosanitary compliance in Bangladesh, again from USDA, USAID funded project, where IR4 or Agriline Global is also a partner, and our major stakeholder is Ministry of Agriculture, represented by Department of Agriculture Extension from Bangladesh. And I have listed Dr. Vara Prasad is the key project manager here. Dr. Sasikhar Karajinder is one of the key networker and key player in the project to ensure that the project management goes well. Then we have local Dr. Ehsanullah in the team. We have our Martina Specia Kova for the functional capacity blending, Nora for monitoring evaluation, and of course, I'm there. Then we have people from US, Agriline Global, and we all have a very clear mandate who will do what. This we decided in the beginning of the project. Now, this project took birth when I was in KEBI. I was doing a KEBI, was asked a consultancy by USDA to do phytosanitary capacity evaluation of Bangladesh and PPO. So I carried on as per the IPPC module of all the 13 modules on key areas of phytosanitary capacity. And it was a very Herculean exercise done in about 6 missions, and it was continued even after joining APAARI. And finally, I submitted report to KEBI, I think in 2018. And when in 18 we went to Bangladesh, we were asked to, we did so much deep diving into their capacity on every aspect. I was asked to prepare a roadmap for Bangladesh for a future USDA effort. And this is what was submitted to USDA. It was the work we have done from KEBI in the phytosanitary capacity evaluation. The outputs which came gave us critical analysis of gaps. We prepared a capacity development strategy, which I submitted. And then that time we were thinking we will also work on establishing a national plant quarantine authority, but finally when we came into the project mode, we removed it. I knew it will not be easy. So now there's another project which is going on there with Lando Lakes. It's taking care of it by a US outsourced agency. So we could see how we can invest in capacity building. And 4 areas we chose. NPPO structure and process, PRA establishment, export certification and import certification among all the areas. Others we roped in where needed. So we are continuing now here. We are somewhere here in 2022 working on survey, surveillance, risk analysis and everything. And we hope this year the project will end, but we will be having a strengthened PQW by next year. And we have been informed by USDA, we will get another round of project for a few more years to continue working, because the objective is to ensure enhanced market access in Bangladesh by ensuring their biosecurity. So we are moving slowly, and this is one of my, I think, lifetime project where we'll be involved, at least I'm involved halfway through. I may not be there till the end of projects, but which APAARI will see how in 10 to 12 years, they have really achieved something happening on the ground through a project, which means a clear outcome of a project. But we are trying to establish knowledge management system and lot of linkages and communication strategies within the project. And Dr. Varaprasad, being a very active project manager, he's mentally 70% in Dhaka than in Hyderabad. So he can tell you much more about this if you have any queries. This project actually mainly addresses IPPC issues. However, there's some part of it, a small budget is there, which addresses the codex issues, which matches with the residual decline studies I talked about. So a lot of activities, collaboration and coordination with relevant stakeholders to operationalize the NPPO. And I have listed all, I'm not going to read. We have a very active awareness program, a regular TV programs, radio call, Bangladesh newspaper flooded with information from APAARI and USDA. And it's gone, we wanted to go to the civil society, because people in the civil society don't appreciate how people in quarantine and SPS work, they work, and how their work is eventually so important for the economy of the country. So we're also working a lot for the institutional capacity, like the legislative things. We are trying to establish a training hub. Project will have a shelf life. Tomorrow the project is going to end, but there has to be a permanent training hub around which they should have clear guidelines of how to train the youngsters in a regular course of time, and how to develop all the related SOPs, manuals, and we are just have to develop a 3-year action plan now, which of course will be giving us the next phase of the project. So we are also trying to bring in the element of functional capacities and a lot in terms of training. Every now and then one training is going on there. And then again, we are going to work here as an overlapping mandate, what we have in the STDF project, with some of the elements not in this project, because here we have a small budget provision of only about 50 to 100K for this work. Mainly we have about 500K for all the NPPO capacity building aspect, which I just mentioned. So we have increased awareness on all of MRLs I just talked about. So this sums up quite well about this project on various aspects of what we are doing. I'm not going to summarize it, but we do have a very sustainable mechanism that we are establishing, because we don't want to only do a project. We want to establish a system and monitor with a donor who is keen to work for many years. So that way we have ensured our business, we have ensured business of the donor. So we have a long-term commitments and long-term engagement there. Now we then took, this is a project which I conceived when I was down with COVID-19 in India, 2019, 2020. Yeah, this is what we conceived with American Seed Trade Association, International Seed Federation, PropLife Asia, and of course, Asia Pacific Seed Association. In one of their meetings here, we promised them that we can work with them on compliances, on how we can do for the private sector, which is often neglected in seed trade, how we can bring them as an active partner, and what are the 7 most related ISPNs for seed trade, where both public and private sector needs to be working collectively. So we submitted a project preparation grant to the STDF. We got it early last year, and we completed the thing, and the deliverable was to develop a full project proposal. So we have only 2 weeks back submitted a $0.9 million US dollar full project proposal. Initially, it's being received quite in good note. Maybe we get some more comments with time, and that may start from June or July this year, not before. So a brief glimpse here of the partners, 5 partners, except APAARI, all are private sector. One is International Seed Federation, which is working closely with ISCA and all the global seed federation. It will be seed-based, seed trade-based, not only plant. And seed trade has not got enough importance when we specifically talk about global seed trade, which has become much more in the COVID time. The global seed supply chain was badly affected. And that was one of the initial reason we approached WTO, like we can help in enhancing that through the giving more importance to the private sector. So Asia Pacific Seed Association is changed. It is Asia Pacific Seed Alliance Limited now. Abbreviation remains the same. I'm sorry for using the wrong name here. They are registered in Singapore, based at Bangkok, and everyone is a private partner except APAARI. So this is going to be a unique project given by WTO, where they fully encouraged us to bring the private partners, and we are going to pilot it in 7 countries as a full project. We also had Myanmar initially. We wrote to Plant NPPO India also, but 4 or 5 reminders and lot of mail, we got no response from Government of India. Maybe Indian seed trade is completely good in shape, so they may not need us. So we got very good response from NPPO Australia and New Zealand, but we didn't want to make them as partner. We made them as a technical collaborators in the project, because they'll be more contributing technically than, like in the implementation side, where we are mainly responsible. So we have our roles, each agency in the project, very clear roles, well defined. And we have just finished our validation workshop, and full-length project proposal has been submitted. We had a lot of things in the project development, and we submitted again a $0.92 million project, which we hope to get quite easily, I hope, because PPG was approved and initial comments are quite good on our proposal. So apart from that, in the field of plant protection, we work with sub-regional bodies. I'm not going to go in detail. We encourage SARC. When I say SARC, I mean the SARC Agriculture Committee in Dhaka, SEC of SARC. We become a partner in the IPM trainees for South Asia countries, all the 7-8 countries of South Asia who come in this training program. We sponsor, we organize along with them. Last year, we prepared a 10-year multi-sectoral work plan for SARC Agriculture Committee for South Asia with SARC in Dhaka, and through, of course, a lot of mails and everything. And this work plan has been approved by SARC Governing Board, where we have a reasonable element of the SPS in the both livestock and fisheries, and also on the plant health sector. And now we are working with them to prepare their strategic plan and vision and mission document of 2022 to 2030, which is ongoing. We are going to finalize it. We just prepared a strategic framework. We're going to finish it in June when we meet in Dhaka. Now with Southeast Asia, we have entered into partnership with 1CG. 1CG ASEAN has a partnership to work on, have a Asian Technical Working Group on Research and Development. And one CG being a member of APAARI and APAARI Executive Committee, they brought us along with them, and now we are working with all the 9 ASEAN countries. In fact, this started yesterday. Whole day meeting we had with Love PDR. We are going to have with 8 more countries. A consultation meeting by APAARI, all the CG institutes, and the country experts are there to do prioritization for Southeast Asia for coming 5 years, which will be funded by ASEAN and accepted by ASEAN in their working group. So this is something going on right now. It may take 2 months more. We'll be approaching ASEAN maybe by end of April. Then with Secretariat of Pacific Community, we work in the Pacific region. We have just prioritized our collaborative mode. They identified the areas of biosecurity and biopesticide. They see a comparative advantage of APAARI here. And if you look at the overall from APAARI angle, we do need to have clarity on our output, but what will be the outcomes. We are seeing both. From SPS angle, I see overall, we are increasing the regional strength in SPS compliance. And we are doing it by strengthening regional partnership, cooperation and coordination, to regional regulatory and policy updates. Very important here is South Asia Sub-Economic Cooperation, SASEC, which is to be activated on SPS issues, and they are mainly actually responsible. But we are right now approaching SARC, and through SARC we have reached to them. We'll see how much we can work with them. Regional capacity building, regional SPS awareness and knowledge management. So we are trying to do our best. But before I end my discussion or my presentation, I would just like to say, I have said in one of the IPS meetings, I want to repeat, especially for 40-year and below people among the participants, excuse me for fixing this age bar, because even a person like 60-year can be mentally 40-year, I believe in that. So at my age, what I'm saying is how mentally, what age you feel, not physically or a date of birth. So for these people, I would say this plant health management journey is a fascinating one. And we started with just looking at one fungi on a seed under microscope. Our career 40 years back at NBPGR, and just publishing, here is the fungi on the seed. And, you know, it's a fascinating journey. It's possible if you remain focused, if you have an overall view of the subject. Even by becoming too much specialized, your eyes are open, what is going on left and right in this world of development. This is what is a message. And it's a beautiful thing if you keep your eyes open, because it helps you to discover yourself. You will discover yourself only when you have challenges. When everything is comfortable, you are in a nice flight in business class, and you will not discover yourself. You will discover yourself when you are economy class, there is a turbulence, there's no one, no announcement, there's no water. I think you will discover yourself much more. You'll have so many things. So if you come a bit out of your comfort zone, very politely I'm saying, I think you discover yourself more, and this we have to do in our professional life. And before I hand over back to the organizers, I will say, my acknowledgements are never complete if I don't acknowledge each and every one in my whole career. Because what we do now is we owe to people who taught us 40 years back in our universities. You know, everyone needs to be acknowledged. And I may not spend time on this slide, but I just want to say, every individual, every organization, we get a chance to work. I think everywhere it was a learning experience. And I really acknowledge, but presently I acknowledge, especially to Plant Protection Association of India. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Dr. Khetarpal, for that wonderful last key message. We focused 360 degrees view of the subject. This is a wonderful message. I think we shall take home this message. And I profusely thank you for all the I know how busy you've been and you spared time for the members of Plant Protection Association of India. And I thank you very much once again. Now I request Dr. Varaprasad to interact. I am seeing wonderful people like Dr. Ramesh Babu. He is now, heading a private university in Andhra Pradesh. There are wonderful people from various institutions. Now I think it is time for Dr. Varaprasad. I see Dr. Kavita. I did not actually, see her, earlier. Dr. Kavita, in fact, I was thinking of Dr. Kavita. Kavita was also part of this exercise of organizing, the special talks for the international, this special year for the Plant Protection Association of India, 50 years we are celebrating. And I'm sorry, I'll not be able to take the names. And now the floor is Dr. Varaprasad. Sir.
So thank you very much. And thanks Dr. Khetarpal for an inspiring talk on plant protection from a different angle at the regional level. What is happening, what is latest. And we always, as a person worked with you and known you from the student days, more than 40 years, from the Pantnagar to now. We know that how you inspired a large group in NBPGR, both plant protection and non-plant protection workers, and then how you have taken leads. And that 360 degrees is something which you implemented and showed it to us. That's how the plant quarantine work at NBPGR, the new areas what you started, still we quote, we use your slides, we use your ideas, and we inspire the students and through lectures. But coming to the value of the lecture that the Plant Protection Association, I congratulate the president and the executive committee and the whole members of the Plant Protection Association for taking this initiative of wonderful lectures. And this is one of the best lectures that we heard, particularly highly relevant to the plant protection group. And the most important thing is that the global hot topics for projects is something which you need to capture, even though I have given some examples of the real-time experience, but there is a lot of things to catch up here, like the phytosanitary trade compliance, our pesticide residues, our pest surveillance, our pest risk assessment, our pest-free areas, diagnosis, rapid eradication, pest eradication, biopesticides, not for necessarily to control the pests alone, but as a mitigant to reduce the pesticides. That's a new thinking, new evidence is available where we have a lot of opportunities to work. And his leadership at APAARI is also bringing the importance of innovation in agriculture. And then if we just use that innovation word into our plant protection, huge scope of innovations in plant protection, and where the things are changing from chemical to non-chemical. But if we don't want to change our attitude, and the innovations will never come. So the innovations scope is very huge, and he is also the chairman of GFAR, the Global Forum for Agricultural Research and Innovation, where forgotten foods are also being brought back to the mainstreaming. And in the forgotten foods, also what are the pest issues, how they can be dealt in the forgotten foods. Those are things which we can link ourselves. Regenerative agriculture or agroecology. APAARI has also got an excellent project in this area, and that's a hot topic again globally, and there is a lot of scope. And please be with open mind. The plant protection scientists should test the non-chemical methods of pest management and tell whether it is effective or not effective. It doesn't matter. But open mind testing is extremely important that we need to take. The seed trade and plant protection cannot be separated. The seed trade is a very, very important component is plant protection. So in this plant protection and seed trade, how much we are really working with the private industry, how we are facilitating. We should not see the private industry as a profit earners. we should see that they are actually giving employment to the country, and they are bringing the export currency to the country, and there are several other advantages. And we have a lot of capacity in India, but the non-responsiveness from the NPPO is very painful. But I think fortunately, NBPGR has also got certain responsibilities in the plant protection and also plant quarantine. So I think we should also try to encroach and take some leads which will bring the NPPO into the fold of regional development of plant protection. Then the capacity development, he has shown an excellent opportunities, and the Plant Protection Association in particular, the president and myself discussed so many times, the areas of expertise of plant protection capacity building is very high with the members of the association. How do we really take it forward, either in the regional language to the farmers or to the faculty or anybody? There is a lot of opportunity here in the capacity building development in the both for the formal and informal sectors in agriculture. Then the functional skills, which is a new subject even for me. And now globally people are talking, how do you make yourself not only technically competent, functionally also you become an enabler to yourself, also to the organization. So this is one area where we can really focus, so that whatever, see, most of our universities, research institutes are stopping at technology development. From technology to commercialization, from technology to reaching the users, their functional capacity is extremely important. You develop a technology and put it in the shelf, which will not be useful because we don't have functional capacity. So that is also an area where our Plant Protection Association, coupled with technical capacity, we can take some programs and policy interventions. Who is the better than Plant Protection Association in giving policy interventions in the plant protection area to the government of India? We need to really think big and think new and then make it happen. The most important thing that I would like to tell is the message from Dr. Khetarpal's lecture is, he is working with the private industry, he is working with the governments, he is working with the research sector, he is working with the NGOs, he is working with the civil society organizations and farmer producer organizations, and the most important is the donor organizations and also the media partnership. So this is 360. 360 is actually inclusive of a variety of stakeholders and bringing them together, giving your leadership and bringing the projects to the country for the benefit of the country as well as global level. India, we have got two excellent seed associations, National Seed Association of India, Federation of Seed Industries of India. These two are very, very active. If NBPGR or Plant Protection Association approaches them, we would like to help you in actually facilitating the trade, increasing your trade. We are ready to work with you, getting an STDF project or WTO funding or somewhere else, even corporate itself may fund it. Funding is not the thing. There is a paucity of initiative, there is a paucity of ideas. I think we should come over. I have the best group in the Plant Protection Association and the best leadership now, Dr. Sarath Babu, with your active leadership, bring something good to the country. And we actually, all of us should assume the roles. Don't wait, somebody will give you the role. You assume the role and you become proactive, enabling leaders. The best message that we get to Dr. Khetarpal. Thank you very much for so much direct as well as indirect messages. Thank you very much.
I think the mentorships of Dr. Khetarpal and Dr. Varaprasad really, in the days to come also, these people are very, very inspiring, and they not only inspired me, they inspired institutes all over the country. I know, of course, Dr. Khetarpal being an international figure now, and the reason why I thought that Dr. Khetarpal should be there is an inspirational speaker. So this is not an exaggeration, but I experienced it through my life in the last 3 decades. So let us not, I think, do this anymore. I think we need to invite, if someone has I think Dr. Ramesh Babu, do you have something to talk to, and do you have something to share with us?
Thank you, Dr. Sayed Babu. Good afternoon to everybody. Good afternoon, Khetarpal ji, and
Good afternoon,
to
Dr.
Ustad.
Ramesh. How are you?
Namaskar, sir. Fine, sir. Thank you, sir. Very nice lecture. And in fact, I worked more than 17 years as professor, sir, but today I have become your student. For every second, I just continuously I heard your lecture, and the way you have covered the vast subject in nutshell in 50 to 55 minutes, really amazing. And you have projected the future APAARI activities in terms of health and also plant protection up to 2030 also. The way you have presented is very useful to not only budding entomologists or budding plant pathologists, for everybody, including the senior most people like us, sir. So there's nothing to ask any questions, sir, because you have given a lot of information. Plus, so challenges also which everybody has to face in near future up to 2030 or more than that also. And thank you very much for your enlightening lecture, sir. And I benefited and I enjoyed like anything. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ramesh Babu. Pleasure seeing you, listening to you. Dr. Shah Babu, can I make a point here?
Please do.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to supplement what Dr. Varat mentioned about blending of technical and functional capacity being done globally. It is very recent, number one. And we are the first one to do it for FAO Tropical Agriculture Platform in APAARI. On a small project with Martina, who is our knowledge management person. But to bring it in a project mode, I fight with WTO, STDF. I was by chance there, they had a new strategy for WTO. I was invited to give as an expert. And there I said, SPS capacity building without functional capacity is going to be flop and money is going to be wasted, and we have wasted enough money globally. People from FAO even laughed at me, though it is coming from the FAO Tropical Agriculture Platform, but those were FAO IPPC people who were there in WTO and Codex people. So they said, what is this and that? I just gave an example. Then Melvin, the secretary, said, okay, you showcase to us with one of the project. We will put this in our strategy of WTO. We will not give any project sanction globally if technical and functional capacities are not blended. I accepted the challenge, and report of this project, which we will finish in a year's time, I think we'll have to go specifically on, we are taking a lot of feedbacks. My colleague Sasi Rekha is very much here. She's doing an excellent work with our knowledge management team. She's a part of all the surveys and everything she's doing. I think the report which we are going to give to them, now they have kept, if you look at the STDF website and the strategy document, it is facultative. It will become obligation once we give a report, and we are the first one. So from STDF, when we were jumping to USDA, for USDA, we gave them example of STDF. It became easy. We jumped to this functional capacity. So now we have our own cases of telling people how much it is important. And this, I'm sure, will become a global phenomenon if we take up properly. It's not being done properly. We also like fixing parameters and all, how to do it so perfectly, but it is very crucial. I just wanted to highlight, and I wish it becomes global everywhere with time. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Khetarpal for your wonderful intervention. I look forward to any interactive. I know this is not a question and answer session, but if someone has some information to share with, maybe Dr. Kavita or Celia. Dr. Celia, you raised your hand, please.
for the wonderful presentation and lecture. As always, I enjoy and learn something from your lecture. I just want to ask you, like, can any country ask for specific diagnostic test? Suppose if we are using conventional PCR, whether EU can decide or ask India to do real-time PCR test? Is there a provision, I am asking?
You mean to say under SPS or otherwise? I mean,
Yeah. If we talk about the SPS standards, whether can the country demand specific test? Okay, I don't want conventional PCR. I want you to do real-time PCR.
yeah, I think this, as such, it is not there as a universally harmonized norm. This comes under bilateral discussions or bilateral agreement. You know, like you say, okay, you will not import from me if I don't do it, or it's okay, it's bilateral, but it cannot go in the dispute case in WTO. Work is harmonized globally in terms of like the minimum requirements that can be challenged in the dispute cell of WTO. This cannot be challenged. This is bilateral.
Okay. I have one more.
I won't stop you asking. You ask me $1 million, I won't give you. That's a different. No one stop you asking, anyone asking anything, but how you manage that discussion is very important. Is it under legal obligation you asking, or under your own like bilateral agreement if you have, or because you want to change, you want to be overshare? So many times people ask like but they also help. They help in ensuring that the exporting country has enough facility to do it. So there are many scenarios to it. Yeah.
In recently, like EU is asking the exporters of tomato to test for tomato brown rugose fruit virus. Like this has been asked several times by Dr. Krishna Reddy from IIT. Why EU is demanding for PCR when I can do conventional PCR? It may be within the bilateral thing, I think.
Yeah, it is bilateral. I'm there. Krishna Reddy, we take input sometimes. It is in our EPSA International Trade and Steering Committee. Krishna Reddy keeps on coming in between for biggest input. So these are purely bilateral. We get many such cases. Now we are having one with Pakistan, in fact. We just replied last week. It's purely bilateral. We are explaining the government. They all come to EPSA as a refuge, you know, to guide in terms of seed trade.
And also, like when a particular pest is not reported from the country, like in a recent case, Sunham, the Taiwan, some Southeast Asian country was asking for the phytosanitary certificate give for Arabis mosaic virus. Arabis mosaic virus is not reported from India on Sunham. And Sunham is usually a very sturdy crop and devoid of viruses and all. Then I gave in writing that this virus is not there on Sunhemp in India, but still the Taiwan insisted that we need to test, and finally I have tested and gave the report. What is the viewpoint on this? What is the provision?
Wrong here.
Dr. Anita, you want to come in?
Yes, see, they are not reported and not occurring are different. We had been always talking about. So not reported is only a question of documentation. Not occurring is more important. You know, like we have intercepted so much in NBPGR, Kavita should be knowing better, Chelsea's and Brookings and all from Australia. And they're not reported from Australia. So there's a slight catch here. There's a nuance here, reported and occurring.
You have something to say, Anita? You're coming between. You are in mute mode. You unmute yourself, Dr. Anita. You unmute. Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations, sir, Dr. Khetarpal ji, and we have thoroughly enjoyed your lecture, and it's very useful and inspiring for all of us. We have several queries, number of queries as far as quarantine is concerned. So now I think it is not the correct place to discuss. So
Right.
because you are running short of time and you have another meeting. So
Yeah, I have 2 minutes more.
thank you so much. Thank you so
I
much.
think
sir.
Kavita has been.
I would like to
waiting to
just
say something.
compliment sir for a wonderful lecture. Always we learn something new from him. This functional capacity was something which was a new thing for me, and I really enjoyed the lecture. And the unfortunate part I observed in all the 3 projects that he was talking about, that India is not a partner. So that is a real sad thing that we could have been, and because of whatever reason, we haven't been able to. But thank you so much. It was really wonderful listening to your lecture.
Thank you.
Ram, Dilip,
Kavita, I will pass on your complaint to Dr. Mahapatra. We have been writing him and writing NPPO, but we got no response.
And it's
Despite
really
reminders.
unfortunate.
Yeah,
Really.
because this has to be done at the official level. When you work,
Yeah.
I can't work with Kavita or Celia or Sarat Babu or Anita. I need to work with the government. So
no, but आप लोग दिल्ली में रह के कविता और सीलिया दिल्ली में बैठे हैं दोनों, इनको कुछ करना चाहिए वहाँ. मैं इधर बैठा हूँ.
the government of India has been very busy recently with farmers, and they have issues to, like seeing the farmers sitting on the street, and they were quite busy with that. They were not much involved into many of the important agriculture projects. They were not responding. So we
Absolutely.
sorry for that. It has to come from top level, yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else is there to coming forward to, any views or any questions? At one point of time, there were, I think, 42 people or something. Now, I think the number is 30. So, anyone has anything to say?
You're stuck.
Yeah, Dr. Sharat Babu, I need to jump out for meeting at 5 o'clock.
No, I think he made a couple of presentations.
Yeah.
So then we understand, later on all the, the CBD, the, national domestic legislations and all that. We tried because the trigger was from Dr. Khetarpal. And then, of course, we took the cue from Dr. Varaprasad, and we all tried to learn something, on these international, legal instruments and treaties other than legal instruments. We tried to understand. This inspiration was from Dr. Khetarpal. So thank you very much. Thank you all. I think let me pass on to Dr. Sagar for a formal vote of thanks. If no one has any, if someone has something has something to say, yeah.
I think Dr. Khetarpal has to leave.
Yeah.
Who?
That's okay. He has to leave for another meeting. But
yeah, he has to go. He has to go.
No, I inform my colleague. She is informing that we may join in 5 minutes.
Dr. YG Prasad is there. Sharat Babu, if you want something.
YG wants to say something. YG, you are there. Dr. YG.
Okay.
I think he is not there.
But not audible.
Okay, I will talk to Dr. YG afterwards. Dr. Sagar, please proceed with formal vote of thanks.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Dr. Sagar is from he's from a division of entomology, APAARI. He's a part of our plant protection executive, actually, Plant Protection Association of India. Dr. Sagar, please go on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good afternoon to one and all. Respected speaker of today's webinar, Dr. Ravindra Kumar Khetarpal, sir, dignitaries, and dear participants. It is a moment of pride and privilege for me to propose the formal vote of thanks in the Golden Jubilee webinar series of Plant Protection Association of India. Firstly, I thank Dr. Ravindra Kumar Khetarpal, sir, for his insightful talk on the issues of plant health management and giving an enlightenment ideas, which has given a future thoughts how we need to work, and for his the APAARI initiatives which has been taken under his dynamic leadership. And I want to mention here, sir was our RSC member during 2016 to 2018, and we got an opportunity to hear his thoughts, ideas that has enlightened us. And we seek your continued support and guidance for our international conference, which is going to be held in November 2022, sir. On behalf of Plant Protection Association of India and my personal behalf, I thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation and delivering a talk on the APAARI initiatives. Thank you so much, sir. And I also thank Dr. Shaikh Nagul Mira from IFAD and Dr. Shishireka from APAARI for their participation in this webinar. And I also thank Dr. KSN Varaprasad sir, former director IIOR, for his continued support and moral support throughout our activities of Plant Protection Association of India. I profusely thank Dr. Sharad Babu sir, President Plant Protection Association of India, for making all these efforts in organizing this Golden Jubilee series of webinar. So we thank from the executive committee and my personal behalf, I thank you, sir. And I also thank the vice presidents of Plant Protection Association of India, Dr. Celia Chalam madam, Dr. Srinivas Prasad sir, and Dr. R. Jagdishwar sir for your enormous cooperation. I need to mention the sincere gratitude to our executive committee in making all the efforts in organizing this webinar series and also in the smooth conducting of this webinar. And I also like to thank those who have worked behind the screen and to make this event to happen in a grand manner. I thank each one of you, and my sincere gratitude to all the participants who have attended this webinar. Hope you have enjoyed the lecture and it was a great feast for all of us. Last but not least, I profusely thank each one of you who has directly or indirectly involved in organizing this webinar series. So I look the same support and cooperation in our future activities of Plant Protection Association of India. Thank you one and all. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah. The most important sentence of last 2 days, you are on mute. Most important sentence.
Sir, I was trying to tell.
Globally, you are on mute.
Sir, I wanted to tell you, in fact, Dr. Bhaskar, contributed enormously for, scheduling the talk and, doing everything on computer for me. So I thank him and I thank Dr. Sagar because nobody else is there to thank these people. So I thought I should come in and thank them. And I thank every one of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. All of you. I feel I'm in NBPGR again today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.